Today you're going to take notes on slope. We're trying Doodle notes today, and it's going to be a little different than previous because we're not actually going to fill in all of the notes on this page. We'll do it in a short series of short videos. So the vertical, we've already talked about it with the similar triangles, but slope is the vertical change over the horizontal change. And you might want to highlight that, underline it. So vertical change over horizontal change, which is also known as the rise over the run. And when we were looking at this, the rise was our vertical side of the triangle, and the run was the horizontal side of the triangle. And then later in this unit, you will need to know that slope is represented by the letter M, that will make more sense later on. And then we're actually not going to fill out that next part, and we're going to move over here. We talked about slopes in relating to skiing, and the slope represents a rate of change. Slope should be written as a fraction in simplest form, although we will not be using mixed numbers. We want improper fractions, so not mixed numbers. And remember, slope represents the steepness of a line, so you could always think about skiing slopes. So what we're going to do is we're going to move to this graph, and we're going to find the slope of each line below, and we don't have the triangles, so we're actually going to draw them. And so our rise, we're going to draw this triangle, and our run. So there I created my slope triangle, and I'm just going to count the units. So we went up 1, 2, 3 units, and I ran 2 units. So that means my slope is 3/2. So I made my triangle, I started going with the rise first. It's just a habit of mine. I always count the vertical first. But really what you could do, I know in our lesson we did our triangles underneath the line. If you do that, you still get the same answer. Your vertical is still 3 and your horizontal is still 2. You can go either way with your triangle. I just do it out of habit. I do my rise first. So for this next triangle, we're going to run. Here's your horizontal. And you'll stop at this point, and we'll go. Here's our rise. So my vertical is 2. My horizontal is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can write my slope as 2/4. And if I were to divide the top and bottom by 2, it simplifies to 1/2. For this last triangle, I'm going to go down first, which is actually a fall instead of a rise. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because I'm going down, I know that it's going to actually be negative. And then my run is 1, 2, and I can do -6 divide by 2, which simplifies to -3. Okay, for this next part, I'm going to move down here, and we are going to look at this coordinate grid. We are going to plot a line that starts at the origin and has a slope of -3. So to begin, the origin is at 0, 0, right in the middle. And for the slope of -3, I first want to change that into a fraction, so I can easily do my rise over run. So if -3 as a fraction becomes -3 divided by 1. That is how you can write it as a fraction. So because my slope is negative, I'm going to go down from this point for my rise, which is 1, 2, 3. That is my vertical for my slope triangle. And then I am going to run only 1, and I want it to be negative, so I have to go right. And then I'll put a point right here over there. So I go down 3, right 1, and then I'll connect those dots. But really what you want to do is you want to continue in this other direction. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go left 1, because again we're working with a negative line, and I'll connect those dots, and that is a slope of -3. The second part says label it A, so I'm going to label this line A. Okay, so the next part is we're going to plot a line that starts at 0, 4 and has a slope of -3/4 and label it B. So I'm going to first start by finding 0, 4 on the graph, which is I'm not going anywhere and I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 0, 4 on the graph. And then I'm going to use my -3/4 and just do my rise over run, or my vertical and horizontal, and make a triangle, a slope triangle. Okay, so from this point I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, because that's my rise, and I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice how I went down into the right, because I have a negative line. So I need to make, or a negative slope. So I need to make sure it's negative. And I really can't go to any other points because it will go off the graph. So all I can do are 2 points, and I'll connect my 2 dots, and I have my slope of -3/4. So I'm going to label this line B. Something else that you need to know is that steeper slopes have a greater absolute value. So if you look at the graph above, we had -3 and -3/4. Well, if you look at this blue line, this right here is much steeper. If you were skiing, that would be a more challenging slope, where this one, 3/4, is smaller than 3, and that would be more of like a starter slope.